we'll start off with magnets, of course. This is a two-sided, about a 400 or 500 pound magnet. Comes in pretty useful for small stuff, lures, hooks, small pieces of metal, nails, things like that. The double-sided really gives you an advantage of pulling in line like this. I think it decreases your snags a little bit versus coming out of the top like these do. I don't really use it that much, unless I'm at a place where I need to use it, where I'm going for that kind of stuff. So, two-sided magnet, 400 or 500 pounds on that magnet. This one is one-sided, of course, coming out of the top with the ring. This is 500-600 pounds. It's pretty good for about the same kind of stuff. You got to think when you're dragging these, how they go. You're pulling them toward you. And they can kind of go up like that. If you're at an incline above it, it's going to be a little flatter, but it's always going to tip up. When it comes to a two-sided magnet, it's just going to drag across the bottom a lot of times like that, and it can flip back and forth, but you're really going to be okay. It can slide off of rocks and stuff. Snags really aren't a huge deal, but they are something to look out for. There's a one-sided. This one is about 1,500 pounds. Pretty good. Gets a lot bigger stuff. If you get on something pretty big with a nice flat piece of metal, it's going to really hang on to it. So that's for your bigger catch. This is around a 2,000 pound magnet. One-sided. I'd like to get a two-sided heavier magnet like this in the future, and they can get a little bit expensive, but if you enjoy yourself magnet fishing, then you won't mind spending that little bit extra money for something that's going to work out well. Little hook still stuck to it there. Watch out for hooks. You're going to get a lot of hooks. We can talk about price a little bit. This two-sided magnet, this one-sided magnet, these smaller weights, and this grappling hook came off of Amazon. Those three things for about $40. So that's a good starter pack. But I'll tell you, we pretty quickly started ordering these bigger ones. And we really ordered them. We started with this one and went to the next bigger one because we hooked into something big and we couldn't get it pulled up. So we kept graduating up. But if you want big stuff, go for this. Good starter pack. Get you started, get your gear all going, because it does take a little bit of gear. It's not too bad, but just start small and get big real quick. That's why Amazon is pretty awesome. This magnet, I believe, 1,500 pound, costs probably like $20, $30. And this 2,000 pounder, I think, was like $70. So you just keep going up in the strength of the magnet. You go up in price, but it's well worth it. To be honest with you, I think this one was actually 40, and they go up another set, and this was 70. I think it's a pretty good deal. So 40 for the beginner set, and then start buying individual magnets. They come in these styrofoam boxes when you get them. It really decreases the magnet's strength by keeping them inside, and if you keep them all in a bag like we do, you don't want them going together because they will be kind of difficult to get apart. It's just more of a pain than anything. These magnets came with some Loctite. I do kind of recommend it. Keep your magnet screwed in. Screw it in. It's probably never coming off there when you put Loctite on it, so be sure you want to use it. And I would. You do a lot of twists and turns when it comes to these magnets, and these screw in. I believe this one, yeah, has a screw at the bottom. But I put Loctite on all of mine just to be safe. Okay, ropes. Rope's a very important part of your new hobby. I keep a few. I've actually got 3 or 4 sets. This rope is like a rock climbing rope, and it rates, on the package at least, about 900 pounds, so that's a pretty nice figure to have. You're not going to be able to pull up anything that's 900 pounds without a vehicle, but I wouldn't suggest attempting that. But it's good to be overrated on your rope, whereas this is like marine rope, and I believe it rated at like 100, though I've gotten pretty close to 100 and it's held up pretty good. It's like nylon rope. This I think you get it at any hardware store, and it's braided, and it comes actually braided into a loop here, but I put this bracket on to give me some extra support. I put these brackets on everything, and you know, they do go back and forth and they may cut a little. It's not the best idea in the world. Eventually I'll do something else, I'm sure, but I've had really good luck with this. These are not frayed in any way, and I've used these quite a bit. This one I've gotten a few snags that I've luckily got out of, and it's getting a little bit frayed. I think I'm just gonna cut it, make another loop, put the bracket on, and I'll be in business. So, because when you get a snag, you're pulling left and right, and it gets a little bit tricky, but it can be done. The carabiner, it's also a pretty good purchase. This has got this slide lock on it. This opens up like a normal carabiner, of course, and this one we got off Amazon. They were pretty cheap. We probably got a pack of 5 for like 10 bucks or something, but they're rated more, I think, maybe like 1,000 pounds on these, where you run into some of the other cheap carabiners and you know, they're kind of hollow aluminum, so I really wouldn't recommend them for anything big. I did a short loop on this one and a long loop on this one, so I'm really trying to see which one is better. And I really like the range of motion with this bigger loop at the end, but the small one may have advantages too. That's a good thing about this. You just do what you want. It's real simple. Anything that works for you will be good. So clamps very important, carabiner very important, and your rope. I got these electrical cord holders that work very well. I put this other carabiner here, and I actually hooked this to my belt loop. You will get mixed reviews on tying the rope to yourself, and I will say that I heard a fellow make a pretty good point about being attached to your rope if you ever fell in the water. So if you got tangled up in this and fell in the water, probably not a good thing. Rather lose a rope than lose your life, this person said. So I'm gonna have to agree with that one. Don't want to die magnet fishing. I've only used one knot during this. I'm not the greatest knot person in the world, but a slip knot has worked very well. Some of you might know how to do it, some of you don't. I take my 3 fingers, wrap it around once, wrap it around twice. Okay? Then this pigtail here, you make a loop through, you loop it underneath those 2 passes you just made, and then you just kind of let go. And then if you cinch it right, just kind of mess with it, cinch it up, you got a pretty good slip knot there. Now the tighter you get this, the less it's going to move, the less it's going to loop. And then what I did is I left my loop there and I put the bracket there, put the knot between it, and that worked out pretty good. So that is just a standard slip knot that I like to use. Now some of your gear, we got this backpack at the thrift store for like $2. Just a bag that you're going to put through some torture. Just keep drakes, rags, rope, of course. This is our rope bag. It's a good idea to have just some extra equipment for whatever else you might have to do. Use this for a hammer. Comes in handy for kind of whatever. Wire brushes, cleaning off your magnets. Crowbar for pulling your magnet off. More wire brushes. Another crowbar for different things. Just whatever you want. Sky's the limit. You know, it's like really fun hobby for that. It's kind of like outdoorsy, you know, a little bit. You're going to get a little bit dirty. You know, I use this hatchet. A guy stepped off of a boat and stepped right on a screw that had been used to build the dock. And there were 3 sticking up there that a million people probably stepped on. So I was able to hammer it down, you know. That's one thing. Gloves. Just go to any Home Depot and see what you like. It's nice to have this coarse stuff on these gloves, this rubber material. Get a little bit of grip. They're really good for cleaning out the ring of your magnet. These are actually right here the best gloves that I've had so far. Got little dimples on them, this rubber things, and they're really good for just wiping off your magnet. Show you some of the stuff we've got so far. This is one my wife got. Last week off of a fishing pier. Very nice knife. Nice cobalt knife. Very sharp. Pretty new. Cleaned it up. It's a little rusty, but it's stainless steel, so works out well. Here is a 30-30 round that we found off a bridge in the middle of the country. Bridges are really good for old dumping grounds, old stuff. We found this in a pond in the middle of town, followed by this, and I'm soaking them right now. I'm buffing them out because they're actually pretty good. Maybe I'll get them going, maybe not. They work well. Just various odds and ends, and here I'm soaking in mineral spirits. Looks like a part to a car. There's just, you know, a lot of stuff like that. Here's a 28 gauge shotgun shell. I think it might be a 20, but I didn't get the measurements. It looks smaller than a 20, which would be a 28. This one we found also on a bridge, small bridge in the middle of the country in Ohio. It appears to be a very old bell, like a alarm bell, maybe for a school. There's 2 bells right there, bell housings, whatever you call them, and this mechanism here, which electric makes the bell run. Who knows how old it is? It looks really old, because when's the last time you've seen a big metal box bell on the side of anything? It's got holes here right at the where the bell sound will come out of. Very large piece of heavy gauge wire. You get a lot of that, like high voltage wire. This looks like a muffler extender for maybe a bike, I would assume. Could be. There's some chrome there I didn't notice. Clean that up, be all chrome again. Could be a nice thing, nice muffler. And being that I found this at the exact same spot, somebody either threw a bike in here at some point, who knows how old it is. But here's the brake, because here's a master cylinder, and if you look really close, see if I can get it for you, you can see the Harley emblem, and has a on-off switch, run and off, so ignition, some wires coming out of it. Pull that out of the same bridge as that muffler and this bell. My wife got this fishing pole. Off of a pier at a reservoir. Pretty good shape, could be fixed up. I think all this was from like one day. This was from another day, but that was off a marina dock. Of course somebody dropped their tools, they do that a lot. This was out of a reservoir. It's a burner, like a camp burner. You will get plenty of batteries. just, you know, a lot of junk. A lot of wire. There's some barbed wire. That was pretty much one day. So I hope you have fun magnet fishing. Say hi to Chewy. Chewy, what are you doing, big boy? Well, he'd like to take Chewy magnet fishing, but he goes crazy when he goes anywhere. So maybe when he gets older. Me and my wife have a really good time doing this together, and get you out in the country, get a little bit of exercise, do some walking, get some fresh air. During all the things that have been happening lately and the way the world is right now, it's nice to get out and do an activity, and it seems like people are nicer these days. Now that they don't get out of the house as often. So have fun.